Hello and welcome to The Point. Today we have with us a distinguished lawyer, a very well-known human rights activist, but above all, now the leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, one of the founding members of the Aam Aadmi Party, who is now has been removed from the national executive, Mr. Prashant Bhushan. Prashant, are you just now a rebel Aam Aadmi Party member?
We don't even know what is the Aam Aadmi Party anymore, because you see, the Aam Aadmi Party was not formed as a normal political party. It was formed as a party which will do alternative politics, which is there for changing the system in this country, not merely for contesting and winning elections. But today the character of the Aam Aadmi Party, or those who control the Aam Aadmi Party today, which has emerged, shows that all the original principles, the founding principles on the basis of which the party was formed, have been compromised. And therefore the question has arisen in the minds of a lot of volunteers and supporters as to what has happened to all that idealism and the principles on the basis of which the party was founded. And where is that party which we had sought to found or create?
So you become a rebel because of that?
No, I have been called a rebel because I am not willing to toe that line of making those kinds of compromises on the founding principles of the party, and because I am willing to stand up and oppose Arvind Kejriwal on some of the decisions which he has been wanting to take, which to my mind would have compromised the principles of the party and would have been highly damaging, not just for the party but for public interest in general.
That's right, Prashant, but when this party was formed, I remember, in those days of India against corruption, you people were discussing, you were not very sure what to do next. At some point of time, all of you decided we'll form a political party. If you remember, Anna Hazare, who was leading the India against corruption movement, was not in favor of it. But all of you defied him and went on to form a political party. After that, you very well knew the different kind of attitudes of people, especially Arvind Kejriwal. I'm sure in all those days that you have known him, you knew what kind of a person he was. Despite that, you decided to go ahead with him. Do you regret what you have done so far?
No, I didn't know. I knew certain things about him, but I didn't know that he has these two very serious character flaws, which I have subsequently been pointing out to him. First, that he wants to control the decision making in the party, and therefore he is not by inclination democratically minded.
But this is what we had heard even during the India against corruption days, that he was always a person who wanted to control decision making.
Well, at that time it was not so apparent, or maybe that we overlooked it to some extent, but certainly it wasn't that apparent at that time. It became apparent particularly after the Lok Sabha elections. And he said so very clearly when this issue arose where he wanted to form the government again with Congress support after the Lok Sabha elections, and we opposed that decision. He said that I am the convener of the party and I can decide what I want. I said that the majority of the PAC is not supporting this, the majority of the national executive is not supporting this. How can you say that you can decide by yourself? So there he said that, look, I have never been a member of any organization where my decision does not prevail. If you have made me the convener, you should allow me to take.
So wasn't that the time when you people should have taken this stand which you took later?
No, that's why we were trying to sort of prevent him from being able to take unilateral decisions, and I had been telling him that you must expand the Political Affairs Committee and the National Executive and include independent-minded people who have the capacity to stand up to you and say no to you, in order to, because...
So at that time you were still hoping that he will change?
I was hoping that either he will change or that we will put in institutional safeguards in the party's decision making systems which will prevent him from being able to take unilateral decisions.
And you have failed in that.
Unfortunately, with the party as it presently stands, we have failed.
Okay, but Prashant, coming to the very specific charges which have been made against you, it's not that they have several. They've listed out over the period of last 1.5 months. We have seen this tutu mai going on between members of the party. One of the specific charges is that you did not want Aam Aadmi Party to win the elections in Delhi this time.
Yes, this is a charge which has been repeatedly made. So there is a short background to this which is necessary. You see, after the Lok Sabha elections, as I came across various problems, starting with this desire of Arvind to form the government with Congress support or with breakaway MLAs, and those very MLAs whom he had himself accused of being bought over by the BJP. Thereafter, this printing of a communal poster by the party, which was anonymously printed, and when they were caught, they set up this Amanatullah to take the flak for that and told him that he would be given a ticket. Then when Awam was formed, which was a volunteer action munch of volunteers who wanted their voices to be heard, in order to discredit them, a fabricated SMS in the name of Awam was sent to show that they have joined the BJP. Then when the campaign started, Arvind told volunteers to start a underground campaign saying Modi for PM, Kejriwal for CM. Then the decision of the national executive to allow the state units to decide whether they should contest the assembly elections in Maharashtra and Haryana, that decision was not allowed to be implemented. And at the top of all this, when this issue of candidate selection came, and I saw that candidates were being selected in a totally non-transparent manner, without putting up their names on the websites, and without even informing the PAC in advance about the biodatas of these candidates.
Was this different from 2013?
Totally different. Totally different. Then we used to put up their names of the shortlisted candidates on our website.
Okay, so all these things happened and
when all this happened, then I said that look, now the water is coming above my nose. I can't tolerate this. And if things are going to go on in this manner, then I will be forced to resign and state the reasons for my resignation in public. Then a big meeting was called at my residence on the 4th of January, where many people came, including Pankaj Gupta, Prithvi Reddy, Mayank Gandhi, Yogendra Yadav, etc. And they persuaded me not to resign and go public, saying that this is going to destroy the election against the BJP. And a compromise formula was worked out, because I said that look, if you win the elections by these kind of means and by these kind of candidates, then the future compromises that you will be forced to make as a result of these kind of candidates who have no ideological commitment to us, who have just jumped over from the BJP, Congress or the BSP to our party 1 month before the election, whom we had ourselves accused in the last election of distributing money, liquor, beating up our volunteers, etc. If you are going to win elections with these MLAs, then the future compromises will destroy and bury our party, and therefore in these circumstances it would be better to lose the elections and go with honorable candidates than to seek to win by these kind of means and these kind of candidates. That statement of mine is being twisted around to say that I wanted the party to lose. I said that if this is the price that the party will have to pay for winning, then it is better to lose the elections.
There is this charge against your father also, similar kind of charge. He went public saying that Kiran Bedi is better chief minister, even Ajay Maken is better than Arvind Kejriwal, and you didn't stop him from saying all these things.
Well, I can't stop my father. When he made that statement, I had publicly, within a couple of hours, issued a statement saying that I disagree with him. But you see, in retrospect, with whatever that has happened after that statement, the lies that have been spoken about the fact that during negotiations we wanted to remove Arvind and install Yogendra Yadav as the convener, etc. All kinds of a series of lies, and then the
No,
manner
but
in
are,
which.
are you saying that, Ashutosh has written a blog yesterday where he says that your father in one of the meetings very clearly said Arvind should not be the convener anymore.
Yes, yes,
Yogendra
that.
Yadav should be the convener.
No, his view was that Arvind does not have the organizational skills to run the party organization. He is a great mass leader and he should continue to play that role as the mass leader of the party, but the charge of the organization should be given to someone else. And thereafter, during the elections, he did make that statement saying that in his view, even Kiran Bedi and Ajay Makan would be better chief ministers. Now, as I said at that time, I publicly disagreed with my father. But given the kind of things that have happened subsequently, especially the manner in which the National Council meeting was conducted, I mean, a whole series of illegalities and thereafter Gundagiri. I mean, Gundagardi in that election, absolute hooliganism and lumpenism, and all at the encouragement of Arvind. This is not the kind of culture that we can tolerate. And I'm sure that.
Prashant, your father was a very distinguished member of the Janata Party government between 1977 and 1979. Are you reminded of that situation today?
I am not only reminded of that situation, I am seeing something perhaps even worse playing out today. I mean, as I said, I had been seeing sort of various compromises of the principles of the party by way of lack of transparency, lack of accountability, lack of inner party democracy, lack of Swaraj, etc. But what we saw in this meeting of the National Council was just pure thuggery. I mean, not merely violation of all the rules, but pure thuggery. We had never imagined that this kind of things could happen in a party like ours. And all that at the instigation and with the encouragement of Arvind Kejriwal.
Okay. I think we need to go into a very short break now. Please keep watching. We'll come back and continue this conversation. Welcome back. We are in conversation with Prashant Bhushan, the member of the Aam Aadmi Party, founding member of the Aam Aadmi Party. Prashant, when you're saying certain things, what you have said just now, and what Arvind Kejriwal says. Arvind Kejriwal in the National Council meeting very clearly made it very clear to everybody. Whoever we are in this business to win and not to lose. Whoever wants to be in the winning side, be with me. Who wants to be on the losing side, go with them. He made this very clear. And now, after having said that, the basic premise, the basic philosophy of the Aam Aadmi Party is now very clear. Do you stand any chance of being anywhere inside this party anymore?
Well, I certainly cannot work with people who think that winning at any cost is the objective of the party. Winning by compromising our principles, winning by having this cult worship and a high command culture in the party, winning by using criminal candidates, winning by sending fabricated SMSs, etc. That's not that's not the objective of forming the party. The main objective of forming the party was to show that it is possible to practice clean politics, politics of principles, politics with internal democracy and Swaraj.
No,
If we can't practice that kind of politics, then merely in order to win, if we are becoming like any other political party, then certainly I can't be in that political party.
No, but that is exactly the point being made by a lot of people. Even well-wishers of yours and Yogendra Yadav and people like that who have raised a banner of revolt, is that you people are too principled. You are not pragmatists. Arvind Kejriwal is a pragmatist. If you form a political party, you need to win elections. You need to form governments to put your whatever your promises or your ideals or your into action. So you people are being very principled and unnecessarily trying to stop people who are being pragmatic.
No, I don't agree that it is not possible for a principled party to win elections in this country. In fact, most of the people who supported the Aam Aadmi Party in this Delhi elections were people who believed that Aam Aadmi Party is a principled political party. You see, you can make a compromise on ideology or on policies. You may have some idea about some policy which may not be the view of the majority of the people in your party, and you can compromise in order to go along with the party. But you can't compromise on your founding principles. If you compromise on the founding principles of transparency, accountability, in a party democracy and Swaraj, then what's the point in forming the political party? We didn't form this political party merely to somehow come to power like other political parties. If that was the case, we could have joined any other political party.
One of the things which is being said, you said about ideological compromises can be made. But one of the things which were being said about this party, even right at the beginning when it was founded and it started taking off, many people felt that a political party without any ideology, there is no ostensible ideology of the Aam Aadmi Party except fighting against corruption. So that you think that lacunae which is there in this party, that there is no real ideology. In fact, Arvind Kejriwal has been quoted as having said that this party is some kind of a Shivji ki Bharat. So is that lacuna of ideology, a firm ideological framework, which has created all these problems now?
No, I don't think that has created the problems, but that can also create problems. And therefore, we have been saying for a very long time that we need to have ideological and policy clarity in the party. And that is why when the party was formed, we had formed 34 policy committees consisting of a large number of experts who had given their reports within 4 months. Those reports have been just gathering dust for the last 2 years because Arvind has not found the time to look at those reports and consider them. And therefore, we have not been able to have meetings of the National Executive, proper meetings of the National Executive to discuss those policies, etc. And to my mind, that's also one of the critical lacunae or problems with our party. We certainly need to clarify our policy vision and our ideological vision. Though, as I said, that it's not necessary that everybody who is in the party must, in their personal views, share every part of the policy vision or the ideological vision of the party. On certain things, certain people may have different views, which they are willing to compromise for the purpose of going along.
Are you willing to, how do you take it when some of the members of the Aam Aadmi Party, now very important leaders actually, people who convene the sessions and all, who preside over meetings, they are saying that you're a Naxal sympathizer, you're a man who is supporting Kashmiri separatists. When these kind of statements are being made from leaders within the party, how is there any ideological compatibility? You are a Naxal sympathizer.
I'm not.
They even call you a Naxal.
No, what? Firstly, these are issues which have never been discussed in the party. Whether it is Kashmir or whether it is Naxalism, etc., they have never been discussed in the party for the party to be able to take any policy position on these issues. Now, I have certain views on them, but they have never been discussed in the party. So, for anybody to say that there are differences because of these issues and that is why these people need to be ejected from the national executive, etc., is absurd.
No, okay, but now coming to the present, as of today, where does the party stand? Where do you and Yogendra Yadav, Anand Kumar, Ajija, I'm sure, and there must be a lot of others. Where do you stand today?
So what is clear is that the Arvind and his coterie who currently control the organs of the party, they have betrayed the founding principles of the party. Not only betrayed the founding principles of the party, displayed a certain crass lumpenism, which is certainly not tolerable to a person like me. And that's where I draw a line. Ki, look, now I am not willing to go along and work along with people like them. However, there are a very large number of very idealistic volunteers who had created or helped create this party and who want the spirit of the party to be taken forward. Now, how can it be taken forward? How can that positive energy and idealism of so many people across the country be channelized is something which we need to discuss. And that is why we have called a meeting on the 14th of April in order to discuss precisely that.
No, but Prashant, would you agree that the way the Aam Aadmi Party grew, grew phenomenally, is because of a charismatic leader? Do you think a political party can be created and run and successfully run without a charismatic leader? Arvind Kejriwal, I'm sure you will agree that he is a charismatic leader.
No, Arvind is certainly a charismatic leader, but there are many political parties which do not have a charismatic leader. Some parties have a leader, he is the supremo of the party, he or she, but may not be very charismatic. And yet those parties do get elected and so on. It's not necessary. Having a charismatic leader is certainly a great advantage, but it's not a necessary condition for a viable political party in electoral politics. It's certainly a great asset to have, but it's not necessary. But if the price of having that asset is to destroy internal democracy within the party and convert it into a supremo high command oriented party, then I would say that that's not a price worth paying.
Can you create a charismatic leader?
No, leaders emerge over time. Charisma is also something which gets built up. I am sure that in our party or in among the volunteers who helped create this party, there would be many people who could develop that charisma over a period of time.
Okay, now as far as when we are looking at the the kind of division which has happened in the Aam Aadmi Party, it doesn't seem that you people have virtually any support within the elected members of the Delhi Assembly. How do you look at this? These were all people who came into the party, got elected, and we don't see virtually anybody except, of course, except very few who have not yet come out openly,
no, and
one MP who has come out, the leader of your party in the Lok Sabha.
No, there are some MLAs who have come out openly to oppose this. But it is true that the majority of the MLAs had even been made to sign a statement, and they did sign a statement against us, etc. So these MLAs feel, because Arvind is the Chief Minister, Arvind is the leader of the legislature party, so they feel that they owe their positions, whatever it is, to Arvind, and therefore they have no other option but to go along with him. Many of them feel that. So therefore, that is all right. I mean,
it doesn't bother you?
But I would have liked them to have taken a more principled stand, like some of their colleagues, some of their minority colleagues, on these issues. But I can understand their compulsions, because they feel that they owe their position or whatever it is to Arvind.
So you think that it is power which is keeping them with them?
In a way, yes.
So what next? Now, if you have to start a political party, or whatever decision is going to be taken on April 14th and subsequently, how would you avoid these kind of situations from emerging again? And do you think, one more important thing is, do you think India needs another political party?
No, you see, whether in that meeting on the 14th, what we will decide is totally unclear. It will depend upon what the consensus which emerges in that meeting, or what people say and feel. It's certainly not necessary to form another political party. See, this party was formed for the purpose of, not necessary. This party was formed for the purpose of bringing about systemic change. Right. And being able to demonstrate that it is possible to do principled alternative politics in this country. That can be done even without having a party in electoral politics. A lot of that can be done. So therefore, all those options are open. But if most people feel that no, we need to get involved in electoral politics, then all the other options will also have to be considered.
You are basically not in favor of electoral politics.
No, I'm not saying
As
that
an
I'm not in
individual,
favor.
you're not a person who would like to get into electoral politics.
I'm not myself personally cut out for electoral politics.
Why do you say that?
Because you see, it involves very strenuous mass connect, etc., which I can't do because of my preoccupations in the courts. However, I am prepared.
You think Yogendra Yadav is cut out for it?
Yes, he can certainly. I think he would be very appropriate for that. He is very appropriate for that also, among many other things that he is appropriate for. And I have always said that, look, my role in the party is that of a supporter, to provide you support in terms of advice, ideas, policies, legal support, as well as financial support. And that's what I will continue to do in any organization or in any movement which carries forward the founding principles, or which carries forward the spirit of why the Aam Aadmi Party was created.
See, now you and Yogendra Yadav are now virtually like Siamese twins. Anything which is being written, both your names are taken together. You people have been working in tandem for quite some time now, ever since this controversies broke up. You both don't have any differences. You both don't, which in future can crop up, like we saw in the case of Kejriwal and you.
We do have differences. For example, Yogendra ji often wants to sort of go along, take people along, even at the extent of making some compromises. While I have a more rigid attitude towards that, Arvind was of course prepared to make every kind of compromise in terms of completely going against our principles altogether. But even Yogen ji is willing to sort of take people along, even at the extent of some compromises which I would not be very comfortable with. But still, I think on the whole, I am much more comfortable with him than I have been with Arvind for quite some time now.
So your rigidity has been a problem. You accept that?
My rigidity on principles has been a problem for Arvind, certainly, and also my putting my foot down and saying that, look, I am not going to myself compromise on this. That is the problem.
Okay, Prashant, thank you very much for that. Here was Prashant Bhushan, who was saying that he is rigid. He admits that he is rigid. Hopefully in the coming days, we will see how all this will play out and whether Prashant Bhushan will continue to be as rigid or becomes a little more accommodating and flexible. Thank you very much.